Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Our top focus today is the misinformation floating about, especially on social media, and vilification, feeding the communal psychosis in the country. That's our top focus. We'll talk to you more about it. But first up, where does India stand in its fight against coronavirus? I want to quickly take our viewers through the numbers as recorded just about 20 minutes ago. The total cases in the country now stand at 1,07,656. And the deaths are 559. In fact, I want to go back. The total cases stand at 17,656 and the total deaths stand at 559. Which have been the worst hit countries? Well, Maharashtra remains the worst hit country with total cases of 4,203. The deaths are 223 in Maharashtra. Delhi continues to be second in terms of the total number of corona positive cases at 2,003, recording 45 deaths. But Gujarat has now overtaken the state of Tamil Nadu to be at number 3 with a total positive cases of 1,851 and recording more deaths than even Delhi at 67. So this is what it looks like, but let's shift focus to our top story on To The Point this evening. Well, there seems to be steady misinformation, fake news clubbed with vilification that is fueling the communal psychosis around corona. Why is it that health workers are getting attacked? And why is it that most health workers are getting attacked in centers, colonies, localities which are dominated by the minority community? Nobody really wants to hurt someone when they're coming to help you. Why is it happening? Take a look. Why would anyone attack health workers who have only come in to help? But as the march of the deadly coronavirus continues through India, so is the resistance to health workers. Indore in Madhya Pradesh, Moradabad in Uttar Pradesh, Tonk, Rajasthan, Bengaluru, Karnataka. Recent incidents of health workers under attack, all in Muslim-dominant colonies. Be it Indore in Madhya Pradesh, where doctors and nurses faced a hail of stones, be it Moradabad in Uttar Pradesh, where a violent attack brought a doctor within an inch of his life. Be it Tonk in Rajasthan, where 3 patrolling cops were brutally attacked. Or be it the latest in Bengaluru, Karnataka, where 59 have been arrested for attacking health workers. Leave alone physical harm. Strict action was and should be taken against anyone coming in the way of our frontline workers. If the National Security Act has been slapped against perpetrators of violence in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, then in Karnataka, the 59 arrested have been charged with attempt to murder. When there is no excuse for violence, so why violence against our frontline workers? All a possible combination of misinformation, fake news, and baseless vilification. A disinformation pandemic is flourishing during corona. Vested interests from across the borders have already flooded the internet through Chinese app to exploit the religious sentiment of India's Muslims, spreading fake news.
Welcome to India coronavirus. हमसे नागरिकता का सबूत मांगने वालों, मेरे रब की एनआरसी लागू हो गई है. अब वही फैसला करेगा कौन रहेगा और कौन जाएगा.
WhatsApp viral messages have caused havoc. For example, 2 claims floating about on social media suggest: 1, that healthy Muslim men will be taken by the police and administered a corona-positive injection. Clearly false. Or Muslims will be thrown in quarantine for indefinite time. False again, but deadly in these sensitive times. And when misinformation, fake news is clubbed with a deliberate vilification campaign, then it is a deadly cocktail of distrust. A cancer hospital in Meerut ran a newspaper advertisement saying Muslims will not be treated at the hospital without a corona negative certificate. The hospital since has apologized, but the damage is already done. Moreover, the Tablighi incident did lead to many generalizations being made on an entire community. And as India fights against a common enemy, the Prime Minister himself tweeting out, COVID-19 does not see race, religion, color, caste, creed, language or borders before striking. Our response and conduct thereafter should attach primacy to unity and brotherhood. We are in this together. Yes, we are in this together, all of us, collectively, irrespective of who your God is. Bureau Report, India Today. Before we go to our guest this evening and to the point, I'm cutting across to Javed Akhtar, lyricist. He is and poet. He's with us this evening. Appreciate you joining us, Mr. Akhtar. You know, I've seen your Twitter feed, Javed Akhtar, and so what I could find was a sense of exasperation with what is happening. Why do you think that most of these cases of attack on health workers are actually coming in? If you look at Muradabad, you look at Tonk, you look at what happened in Bengaluru last night, you look at how it all started in Indore, most of them, and we have to say it, a lot of people are not saying it, are coming in from areas dominated by the minority community. Why do you think this is happening?
Well, it has happened earlier. So I remember around the 90s sometime, some international health organization like WHO or some other organization had contacted me, and they told me that they are going to villages to collect children for polio. And there are many spots and there are many villages and areas where there is tremendous resistance against it. And you must have also heard about it. So they asked me if I can give any help in a particular village where 3 times doctors had gone and people had thrown stones on them. So I went to that village without these doctors and everything, with somebody who knew somebody in that village. And I asked them, why are you doing this? I mean, these are the people who are coming to save the children from polio, and you are throwing the stones at them. Then they gave a strange explanation to me, and they said that, look at this, look at the village. We don't have a proper road, we don't have electricity, we don't have a clinic, we don't have a school, we don't have anything. And again, we are the municipality, we are the government that they should do something for this area. Nobody comes, nobody bothers. And suddenly, why they are bothered about the children? There must be something evil about it. Listen. Then I tried to explain to them. It took me a little time, but thankfully they understood. And ultimately they agreed to get their children inoculated. So there is, as a matter of fact, in certain areas, there is tremendous matter of distrust in the people and the authorities. And that distrust is constant. So I think it becomes the responsibility of the educated people of that particular locality, of that people who know these common people, go to them and don't tell them that don't behave like idiots. These doctors are coming at the risk of their own life to save you, to save your family, and you are throwing a stone on them because you are frustrated of their education. I mean, how stupid is it? And people who instigate this, people who try to spread this misunderstanding should be dealt with total ruthlessness, I'll say. But the common man, they are ignorant, and somebody has to educate them.
Sab, you say there's this distrust which is right now building. According to you, what is causing this distrust for people from the minority community, and to say it very clearly, in Muslim-dominated community, to actually attack workers who are coming in to help, sir?
Yeah, the fact is that this thing that you are seeing today was seen, and if you will ask any health worker, he or she will confirm what I'm saying, that in this country at many places, and not only Muslims, other villages also, who are not Muslims, they had tremendous resistance against polio inoculation. As a matter of fact, I think the seed of the suspicion was sown during emergency, when there was almost compulsory or kind of a campaign of family planning. And somewhere it is in their memory. So I think this tradition, this wrong tradition has continued, and people need to be educated. So, and there are some people who make it an issue out of ego also, so they should be dealt with differently. And there should not be any mercy or consideration with such people. On the other side, what is happening that I am seeing every day on Twitter or other social media, that kind of hatred is coming out for Muslims is frightening. And who are you trying to hate? Almost 20% people of India. You are telling them that they are all jihadis and terrorists. I mean, they call me. I get at least 50 hate messages every day. They say I'm a jihadi and I'm a mullah and I'm a fanatic. So what? Can you imagine what they must be saying to others?
Javed Saab, apologies for what you've been hearing, and apologies to anyone out there who's being vilified like that. But Javed Saab, you say that information needs to be given out, and that's my final question before I go to my other guest to you, is when you say people need to be educated, need to be informed. Now, the Prime Minister did lead by example yesterday when he went on to tweet where he said very clearly that we are all in this together. Race, religion, caste doesn't matter.
I think a free, balanced and decent person has highly appreciated his message, and I would request him to you to do it again and again, as a matter of fact, because he should pointedly tell people that people who are trying to stop the medical help or doctors and nurses and attacking them will be dealt with totally strictness. On the other side, he should also say, he should, in as many words, that you can't, I mean, openly, you can see it on videos on YouTube, that people are having meetings and announcing and thinking social and economical boycott of Muslims. This is not done. This is not done at all, because it is not good for the country, not good for the nation. You cannot change 20% population of a country black. Not possible.
Thank you, Javed Akhtar. Thank you, Javed Saab, for joining us. Like you said as well, and like the Prime Minister said, we're in it together. And hopefully, we will lead by example. Till now, that's not quite reflecting on the ground. Joining me right now on what is fueling this communal unrest, especially when it comes down to a backlash against our health workers. I have Rakesh Sinha, Rajya Sabha MP, I have S.Y. Qureshi, former CEC, and I have Shahid Siddiqui, senior journalist. I am also joined right now by D.K. Shivakumar. He is the KPCC chief right now. He's joining me from Bengaluru. D.K. Shivakumar, my first question is to you. The last incident which took place of this nature was last night in Bengaluru. 59 people have been arrested, charged with murder. Now, this incident also happened in a colony, in an area which is minority dominant. What, according to you, D.K. Shivakumar, is fueling this kind of unrest?
See, I don't agree on the issue of minority community. It is an individual cases. It is a criminality. We condemn it. We don't want to support such type of incident. But blaming them on the minority issue because someone has made some mistake, let the culprit be punished. Why are you pasting them? It is for the entire community. I don't agree with it. If anyone has done a criminal act, if doesn't have followed the law of this country, let those people to be done. But why are you pasting them as a minority? For some 2-3 fellows or some 10 fellows or 20 fellows, if they make a mistake, why is the entire community has to be blamed?
S.Y. Qureshi, do you agree with that? Do you agree with the fact that these incidents clearly which are being treated separately, or do you think there's a larger narrative behind it? Because at one end you have a basic amount of distrust because of the misinformation, through WhatsApp, through various social media platforms which is being floated about. Then there is this sense of vilification or being vilified. You had an example of a hospital in Meerut which pretty much gave out an advertisement saying we will not treat Muslims.
Correct. Preeti, actually you have already said whatever is the right thing to say. You have used all the right words, the terminology, you analyzed the problem very clearly. The fact is that there has been a vilification campaign consistently for the last few years. The Muslims suffer from kind of a siege mentality. They feel they are under threat. And in fact, the best answer to your question will come from the guys who attacked. Now, it was 8-10 days ago. They have been arrested. They must have been investigated. Let us find out from them what was their provocation. Why did they do it? Chances are, as you rightly said, the disinformation, the vilification and rumors, fake news, that they will be arrested, they will be taken to detention camp, because they have been hearing of detention camp, the glamorous stories of those camps, that they will be injected with corona positive and all those things. They have been going on. In that background, as it is, rumors fly thick and fast in such situations. So somebody floats a rumor and then they fight for their life. So best answer will come from them, and surely you must find the answer and tell us what is it that they said. Till then, whether what you say and I say is just an speculation and an intelligent guess. You know, so we have to do something positive, and it has to come from the media like you are doing now. This is a good thing. This is a very good initiative. Secondly, as Javed Saab said, the Prime Minister's appeal is very timely, very effective. At the same time, one-off appeal perhaps may not work, because the hatred and the polarization is so deep-seated that he probably has to say it repeatedly in his next broadcast to the nation. Probably he should take it up very seriously, and if he warns the people of India that I will not tolerate it, just see the compliance. The way there is compliance to lockdown also. Generally, 99.9% people are complying. So confidence building has to come from the leadership, from the media, and from all of us.
All right, Rakesh Sinha, you know, the fact is, no matter what it is, whether it's misinformation fueling it, whether it's, WhatsApp messages, whether it's even vilification at a level, one thing that cannot be tolerated is violence. And we are coming down with a heavy hand, which we should. But Rakesh Sinha, should we also be compelled to look at the larger picture? What is causing it? Otherwise, why would anyone want to beat up someone who's actually coming to help them?
You know, by saying that these are due to vilification and polarization, in fact, you are justifying and legitimizing such incidents. This is a repetition. Post-Jamaat, one aspect was Jamaat's meeting in Delhi, and that created a havoc. But post-Jamaat, when the entire TV industry, almost 24 channels, and almost hundreds and thousands of newspapers published in India, entire pages and all the TV channels, 24 hours dedicating to the corona. And you don't need to have research on corona. The number of deaths all over the world shows how corona is highly damaging to the humanity. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a visionary Prime Minister. He had taken right step at the right time when people were not serious. When he was addressing our party MPs, we are not serious about the corona. But he was saying that don't pat your back. This is a very serious thing. Be serious, be cautious. The fight is coming ahead. And due to him, that India is a very successful in combating corona, and due to that, India has become a model all over the world. At the same time, a particular communities people are attacking, and you are justifying it is not an exceptional incident. I am not blaming the entire community. Nobody is blaming the entire community. But at the same time, the repetition is there showing that the community is being misled by their own political leaders who are misleading even on the question of humanitarian question. That is question related to their own safety, their own life. But they are risking their life, and they are so alienated, unintegrated. And I am reminding you, the Shaheen Bagh indoctrination has played a very, very devastating role on the Muslim mind. Almost all 75, 76 days, the kind of lectures were presented there, the kind of lectures were disseminated entire country, that Muslims are being victim, Muslims will be thrown out. So they are ready to sacrifice their life, and they are not ready to integrate with the health system. And I think by legitimizing that, you are damaging the nation, humanity, and the community. Here, the role of the liberal Muslims. Liberal Muslims, they should go to those areas. They should address the people. Prime Minister has already appealed. Before that, he appealed all the religious leaders to cooperate.
Okay.
What else you expect from the Prime Minister and the government? Prime Minister has never taken, despite all the violences, Prime Minister has never talked about the violence in Mann Ki Baat or in any of the address. He avoided all these things. This shows that the kind of concern for 130 crore people. No, but you cannot blame the social media. Social media is one aspect. There are good people and bad people. Preeti, you might be getting many abuses on social media, but you cannot blame for that. There are people we know that who are abusing me, who are abusing you, who are abusing the Muslim, who are abusing the Hindus. So we know that there is a filter. So last thing I want to communicate the Muslim community. The section in the Muslim community are becoming very, very fundamentalist. They are trying to attack on constitution, the Indian state, health system, and this is a very, very bad. This is leading to polarization. They cannot blame for the polarization to other things. This is the cause for the polarization that is going to be a very far-reaching impact on our civil society. And I also blame the intellectuals like Javed Akhtar. He was reminding me the emergency. You go to the Muslim area and ask the people what is the emergency. The new generation, even the generation in the colleges, they don't know the emergency. And you are reminding that people have the memory of the emergency. The people have memory in the emergency.
Mr. Sinha, I'll come right back to you. I want to go to Shahid Siddiqui and bring him in this debate. Shahid Siddiqui, you are joining me right now from Nizamuddin, which is a containment zone, practically because about half a kilometer away was what happened, that massive incident with the Tablighi. But I want to ask you, Shahid Siddiqui, do you concur with what Mr. Sinha was saying, that, saying social media, WhatsApp is all a crutch? Ultimately, a larger piece of information needs to be understood, which is to integrate, and this community is not doing so. Not all, a part of it.
I understand the concerns of Rakesh Sinha, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate the statement of the Prime Minister. I welcome it. But at the same time, I want to say that please appreciate that Muslims, 99.99% Muslims in the hundreds and thousands of mosques all over the country have been cooperating. They are not going for Friday prayers. The Shab Barat was one day in an year where, in their millions Muslims come out and go to graveyard. They did not do that. And I have been in Urdu newspapers, I have been seeing condemnation after condemnation of the incident like Muradabad. Every Muslim leader, religious leader is condemning it. We have been asking the community constantly to support, but the virus of rumors is not unique to one community. Rumors are affecting the Hindus, they are affecting the Muslims, they are affecting the common man, and not enough has been done by the media and by our leaders on all sides to fight these rumors. And I have seen a few videos which I am afraid may have come from across the border, which are telling the Muslims that don't go to these quarantine centers because you may be injected with corona positive injections, etc., which are very dangerous. I condemn that video as soon as I saw it. But let me tell you, today I also saw a scene from Bulandshahr where Muslims were showering rose petals on the health teams which had come to their mohalla, and this is happening in many villages. We are telling the Muslims that it is in your interest, it is in your favor. But at the same time, when you create an atmosphere of suspicion, my friend Rakesh Sinha says that polarization is taking place. Who is responsible? Everybody is responsible. If people on this side, people on that side, people on all sides, and not enough has been done by the government and the media to do away with this polarization. Right. And this polarization is going to harm everybody, not only Muslims. It's going to harm the country, and therefore the BJP as a party in power should do much more to fight this kind of atmosphere of suspicion and polarization which has been there for last so many months.
Right. All right. Mr. Siddiqui, I want to take one comment.
Vilification of a community is dangerous.
Right.
That creates an environment where people are afraid. Right. As soon as they see the police, they see it as an enemy. When they see the officials, they see it as an enemy. That should not happen.
True.
They should be seen as friends. And that's where our responsibility is. And
that's our collective responsibility. And I want to quickly go back to DK Shivakumar, who's with us. Mr. Shivakumar, how do you end this vilification? Because the Muslims, most of them, a majority of them feel vilified at the back of being stigmatized with tablighi or, with the WhatsApp messaging going about, getting swayed with that. How do you stop it? Because there is a sense of isolation where the community is coming from. And on the other hand, what is happening right now cannot be tolerated.
Yes, we all have to come together, we all have to join together, we all have to fight together. That is what the Congress party is doing in the entire nation. From Kashmir to Kanyakumari, our leaders have given a call. We all are supporting the cause, including in my state, whatever may be the issues. See, the ministers here, the government here, except the chief minister, many of the legislators are taking in a different version, in a political angle, but still we are digesting for the sake of this nation, and we are all supporting it.
Well, ultimately, let's just hope that we do come together and do what we can. And, with Mr. Siddiqui, who is in a containment zone right now, with what he said, that it has to be a collective effort. And with all of you, I think all of us will agree with that, even Mr. Sinha, on that this needs to be fought at every level by all of us. Appreciate you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. Thank you. Up next, News and Updates continue. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.